love to welcome our first panelist. So the first person we'd like to welcome on stage, I'm so happy, I'm so excited. She is a thought leader. She's someone that consistently shares wisdom, that every time she has me clicking on my iPhone. And she's also the co-founder of To My Sisters and a content creator. Please give a warm round of applause for Courtney Daniela. Please, take a seat. Thank you. Would you like to take
No, please go. I'm just here for vibes.
Okay. The second person I like to welcome to the stage. This babe is funny. And you know, when you see a lot of videos, you see people do humor and it's not funny. But with this person that's about to come on stage, Ariel Fitzpatrick, every time I see her content, I'm laughing, I'm cackling, I'm laughing. And the thing about it is that she always does it from a relatable Christian perspective, and people struggle to get that balance. And she does it so well. So, please can we welcome Ariel Fitzpatrick to the stage. Woo, woo, woo!
I'm so sorry. We don't have extra chair for your angel, but I'm sure we'll need to manage. That's fine. Okay.
The next person I'd like to welcome to the stage. Christians, right? Let me just break it down. We like to talk about finances. We don't like to talk about it well. Like, we don't know how to do it well. But this person likes to inform us. He likes to educate us. He likes to give wisdom. So, without further ado, I'd love to invite Emmanuel Asuko to the stage. Still me? Okay,
Yeah, come on,
good.
Come on.
Okay, the next person I'd like to invite to the stage is a resident Liberty member.
He's gonna get the loudest chair. Come on.
But I feel like he lives up the Hannah Montana lifestyle. Do you know how I describe that? Because we always see him serving in church, doing social media, always recording. But this guy has a secret life. He's doing fashion to millions of people. Please, can we welcome Stephen Omotayo?
Wait. Before he comes on, he's gonna dance on stage. Let's go. Let's go. Thank you. Okay.
And our final...
No, you do
still
it.
me? You've got to check. You've got to ask these things. Okay. So our final panelist doesn't need any further introduction because he just dropped wisdom for an hour straight. Guys, word upon word upon word upon word. Mr. Rohn Starling. Please, take a seat.
Ron, I think, would you like to see Ron dance? Okay, he's got a dance that's been stuck in his head, so let's give him some hip hop. Let's go.
Good.
Any other one I said
A cheeky
to you.
beat. Ready?
Hey yo, Dibs, go get the camera. Hopping out at the show with the dancers.
Let's go. Go run.
I'm a tired of guy, yeah, been stepping out here, but ain't nothing big.
Oh, wow.
Jesus.
Thank you. First of all, we want to say a massive thank you to everyone for joining us because you've all come from all over the world and the country, so we'd love to appreciate everyone. Give a massive round of applause. But I'm also super excited because everyone here is from such a diverse background, and I think everyone's content focuses on the different spheres that you can essentially take influence in, which is super exciting. So as the opening question, or the opening for this panel, I'd love for you to, first of all, tell us your handle, because this is an influence conference, social media. Tell us your handle, and also tell us when you first realized that you had influence. It's a good question, isn't it? So please, can we start with Emmanuel?
Hey everyone, I'm Emmanuel Suko. My at is at the E-Man Effect UK. When did I realize I first had an influence? I think the first time I proper realized, because obviously I was doing social media before, but I kind of blew up during lockdown, is when I went outside and people said, you're the finance guy. And people will meet you and everyone will have their favorite video, because at that time I used to just roast people for their bad spending habits. God has changed me, I've got better now. And then people would tell you, that video you did about this, and that's when you realize. And then I remember the first time I was in Marks and Spencer's, and someone stopped me and he said, I just bought a house from watching your content. This is I never met him before, just met him in the Marks and Spencer's. And that was when I realized that something that I was doing in my bedroom, talking to many, was having an influence without me even ever speaking to them one-on-one, and that was the power.
We all finna buy houses.
So, Ariel?
Hi. I can't believe I'm in London again. I'm excited. What up, London? Anyway, my socials, my handle is Ariel Fitzpatrick or Ariel Fitz. It's different on each, but it's either Ariel.Fitz or Ariel.Fitzpatrick. And I believe the first time I realized I had influence was, it's funny, because before TikTok and all that, I used to be on YouTube, and I did nothing like what I do now. I used to do hair, and to be very honest, I had no idea what I was doing. But I got on there because I wanted to be on YouTube, and I started doing crochet hairstyles, because that was the trending thing. And I was like, I need to do something different because everybody's doing it, so I put my own little twist on it. And then I was shocked when I realized how many people were messaging me like, oh, you're the reason why I was able to do my hair, because I couldn't afford, because I did really cheap hairstyles, to buy a hairstyle for $5 and look like a wig or something like that. And people were messaging me saying, you were the reason why I got my hair done, because I had no money to do my hair. And I was like, wow, I didn't know that. So that was the first time. Yeah.
Wow. Hi, Connie.
Or at To My Sisterhood, if you want to tune into the podcast. The first time I really deep that I had influence was I started YouTube as well when I was in first year of university. And at the end of my first year, me and my best friend, who is my podcast co-host, Renee, made a video on my YouTube channel called How We Got Into Oxford and Cambridge. And the video did numbers. It was one of my highest viewed videos. And I kind of just left it there. I was like, oh, cool, representation, black girls on the internet, talking about how we go into Oxford and Cambridge, cool stuff. I graduated now, 3 years later, and I went back to Cambridge to give a talk. And one of my directors of studies pulled me aside from my college and was like, hey, so I didn't really know you were that big on the internet. I was like, girl has a little something called numbers, subscribers, whatever. And then she was like, the reason why I realized wasn't because I found you, but I interviewed 3 people this year who said you were the reason why they applied.
Wow.
And they got in, and I was like, ooh.
That's amazing.
Thank you. But God really topped off. That same week, somebody sent me an article from the Times. And in it, my name was put next to Stormzy as to why I'm not flexing, this is a testimony. My name was there next to Stormzy, because that's the same year he released the Stormzy Scholarship, as to why the black population at Cambridge had doubled. And I was like, cool.
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
I ain't got no story yet.
Ron, so we're coming to you. We gotta end with Steven.
Oh man. You know what? I wanna go back to YouTube too. Then I was on YouTube when I was 16. Actually, no, really funny story. I made a video when I was 16 years old. I used to ride BMX, which is so not normal for black people in general. And I made this video, and overnight it got 100,000 views, and I was like, maybe I know how to do YouTube videos. Maybe I know what I'm doing. I go to the skate park thinking I'm just mad normal, and someone goes, "Oh, you're that guy that taught me how to do this one trick on YouTube." And I go, "Oh, you watched the video? Like, that's crazy." And then, like, that person ended up like becoming a professional BMX rider, and I'm like, you know what? Maybe that was a good video.
That's amazing. Thank you. That's Stephen.
Hi everyone, my name is Stephen Tayo. Handle is Sumateo10.
Cold with it.
I'd say with the second trend that I got on, I saw a video on TikTok and it was posted around like 2 months ago and I ran to do reviews. I'm thinking, I posted it, I can just let it. I was like, if it worked for 2 million, I'm sure like at least 1,000 people still like it, you know what I'm saying? So then I didn't know something else to look up.
You see what I'm saying? You see how my spirit jumped?
Wow, thank you everyone for sharing your stories. I think a key part that stood out in everyone is everyone started somewhere and everyone's beginnings were small. It seems like YouTube is a hub for many beginnings, but it seems like everyone had like small beginnings, but when the impact came, no one was expecting it. And it shows that you're creating from a place of like service, you're creating from a place of passion, like it's not about virality, it's about making things that are important. So yes, thank you everybody. So, the next question I would like to ask everyone is, because we're practical church, we want practical questions, we want practical answers. What strategies have you found have worked well for building community online? For building community on the internet? If anyone would like to take the floor, you can go first. Yes.
I think storytelling. I think what connects us as people is the stories that we tell and we relate to about each other. If I think of my journey through podcasting, YouTube, it has all been authentically and transparently telling a story and really sharing my own pain points and that connecting with someone who's like, you're my people. I think what connects communities, even anthropologically, is that sense of sameness and relatability. That is, there's something in you that I see in me, whether it's a desire, whether it's an experience. And I think when we leverage that on the internet, it's through telling stories that we become connected with one another. And so authentically own and tell your story, and you'll be shocked at the people who gravitate towards you.
We're gonna be clapping all day for you. I just know it.
Ariel?
Yes, for me, like I would think of like 2 things, and one of them is what you said as well, is really getting involved on people's posts. Like when I just began, because again, it was kind of unintentional, but as you grow through it, you realize, oh, these are actually really good points I was using. And I would always go on people's profiles, and I would always just comment, and I would like, and I would be involved. Wow. And I realized I created like a community of like friends, basically. And then when they would come on my page, the second thing is like being just open, like what you said, like you're telling your story, just showing your life, saying what you've been through, just talking and being yourself. it really caused people to be like, oh my goodness, like she's like my big sister, or she's like my cousin. And then just constantly having that conversation anytime they even comment on I can't get to everybody, but at least I would try my best to like comment back, because to this day, I'm like, yo, this person really just took a moment to say something on my video. And people are funny, like people be writing comments, it's hilarious. I gotta like comment back, and then that's what I realized really helped. Like now I really have a community, and I feel like even when people see me like on the street or whatever, it feels like I know them and like they know me for years. And they're always like, girl, I'm sorry, I know I'm talking to you like we're best friends. I'm like, no, we are. Like, I tell my business, you tell yours on the internet, and we just like connect. And that's like what helped build that community.
Wow, thank you.
Yeah, I think for me, the two things I've always gone by, and obviously because I'm from finance, number one is value. So it's all about, for me, is giving that value, giving you the stuff that you can't get anywhere else. So you have to continue to come in a way that is relatable to you. So yes, you can say, yes, you can budget and save. But when I tell you, oh, you're in your overdraft, but you just bought Beyonce tickets, it hits a little different. Do you understand? You can't. There might be a Martin Lewis, but he's not going to deliver it like that. Do you understand what I'm trying to say? So my community comes to me because they understand the language I'm going to do. Then the second is consistency. I remember when I was really hustling, I was doing a live every Monday. Let me not go live 8 o'clock on a Monday. My DMs, Emmanuel, we're waiting here. You must come on. I said, wow. Like, wow. So value and consistency will get people to really buy into what you're doing.
Word.
That was so good. They do be in the DMs too. Which is actually one thing I want to say. It goes down in the DMs. Like, LOL, don't do that. Don't do that. It's pure in the DMs, okay? But it's communicating with people. If you go on a date and they don't ask you questions, it's kind of like, all right, okay. You want to be able to communicate. I think community happens when there are people communicating in unity. And if we get to do that, I mean, the Bible says that unity demands a blessing. So I'm striving for that.
Wow, that was so good. Also, don't forget to ask your questions, because we probably will just carry on chatting. So the QR code is going to pop up on the screen now. No, let's try again. And the QR code is going to pop on the screen now.
Okay, it will pop up. Well,
okay,
perfect.
there you go. Right, so so scan the QR code, and we'll come back to these questions. Adesi has some.
I have a couple more.
Yeah.
Okay. So something that you've all kind of touched upon on this panel, and even throughout today, is the importance of authenticity, sharing your experiences in your story. That is a very scary thing, and y'all are saying it like it's easy. Putting yourself out there is very overwhelming at times. So do you have any advice for people who want to start creating content, but they're scared of sharing their story, or they're scared of sharing their experiences with the world because it could lead to judgment? I'd like to start with Courtney first, actually. Yeah.
I think throughout my content journey, I've had, let's say, the honor of sharing some very hard things. There's like, sorry if there's any kids here, I have a video that has like 1 million views talking about pornography. My mum was not happy about that. I have podcast episodes talking about like childhood trauma. I have an episode with my sister where we were talking about sibling rivalry. And I believe when I started my YouTube channel, it was faith-led. I had just come to Christ. And I was like, I had a very traumatic thing happen in my life. It led me to faith. And I was like, God, I never want to feel like there's an elephant in the room that I can't address. I never want that to happen. So I'm going to use my content to address the elephant in the room. And because I assigned that purpose, or God assigned that purpose, there was a boldness that said, I'm not going to let shame dictate my content. And I think that's where a lot of us go wrong. We come to it with we come to it with this fear of being ashamed because we are still ashamed of our story. You can't come onto the internet and be bold if in your real life you're still ashamed. So I had to deal with that. I'm no longer ashamed. Okay, anyways. Thank you, Holy Spirit, for that. But yeah, you can no longer be ashamed of yourself, whether it's your personality or your story or the way that you do things. A lot of us are ashamed of our uniqueness because we feel like we haven't been accepted in real life. If you don't see your value first, like you were saying about value, if you don't see the value that you bring in your style, if you don't see the value you bring to your friendship group, if you don't see the value you bring to your family, you're not going to see the value you bring to the internet. So allow yourself to be unashamed about who you are. And then, okay, there's a comment here, but I have people in my life that love me. I am okay with me. I'm happy with me. And also, I know I don't need to be ashamed with God. If God is happy with my story and he's written it this way, why should I be afraid to tell the story how it's written? You know?
Pass out, preaching.
Hey.
Pass out.
She is preaching.
Guys, you can find out more at To My Sisters Pod. You will see it. Guys, this is what she does, weekly, like, it's serious. I'd like to ask Ariel next, because I think you approach things from a place of comedy, but a lot of the things you're saying, it hits home, especially the ones about dating, you know? You feel it? Yeah. Let's look.
Yes, I realize, it's something that my parents would always say as well. And they would always tell me, like, or just not me, like even the congregation, your testimony is not just for you, right? And a lot of times I feel like we get so self-centered, unintentionally. Like we don't necessarily think we're doing it, but we kind of making the whole world and everything about us like, oh, what are people gonna think about me? That's gonna ruin my reputation. I wanna look like this certain way. But then when you just get to a point where, again, I've discovered all of this kind of unintentionally, where you just sharing the most simple, like I remember the first time I did a I'm gonna see for myself video, very first time. And the amount of people that related to that situation, it was so simple. I wasn't supposed to go see that guy, and I went because even though God told me differently. Now, if I were to think in like the traditional church box, I guess I could say that, we kind of, a lot of us grow up in, I would never put that out there because I'm supposed to be the good girl. I'm a pastor's kid, PK, and then all of that stuff. And then, I'd be afraid of what people say about me. And guess what? People do say a lot of things about me. But at this point, because I realize how much my story helps people and actually leads them to Christ, I don't care what the other people have to say about me. Because the pros outweigh the cons, and there's not really any cons to it. So I think it's very important for you to share your story. Because even through comedy, again, I'm like saying things in a funny way, but it's like a serious point. But it changes lives. That's what I believe.
Can I add to it? Can I add to it really quick?
Yes, you can.
Okay. Sorry, did I cut you off?
No, you've go.
Okay, great. I would never talk to someone about something I haven't talked to God about yet. Like, yes, I can talk about it on a video or whatever, but I should just talk to God about it first. If I haven't consulted with the Lord, then I probably shouldn't consult with other people. And then another thought that I think is, I learned this in therapy. There were things that I couldn't utter because my body, I had betrayed myself, and that I was ashamed of, and I was embarrassed of. And when I would try to tell the story, I would get choked up. And my body was like, you can't tell that story because you haven't even told it right to yourself. You don't even trust yourself with that. And I had to learn how to communicate that with my therapist and with God. And once I do that, then I'm probably going to get a revelation about it, and then I can actually talk about it. Because what does the Bible say? It says that we overcome the enemy by the blood of the Lamb and the power of our testimony. And that, to me, is worth it. So.
Yeah, I think you've always got to realize that you can tell your story, but there are other characters. And so I'll give you examples. So I did a video where I was talking about how I got a third class at uni. I'm Nigerian, oldest child. It was a problem. It was a big problem, you know? But then recently, I went back to Greenwich Uni to give a talk on finance to the students. Wow. So I'm in the car park because content can be done anyway. I'm not saying I'm just walking. I'm literally walking to go and give this talk. And I've got my phone and I say, oh yeah, I remember the last time I was here, my dad was vexed at me because I got a third class. Oh, if you know the family meeting we had the next day. Emmanuel! You know when your mom calls you that way. Like, because I'm telling my story, but my story involves someone else. But I had to tell them, I have to tell my story. And I'm sorry that you don't like it. And I'm sorry that you don't like it. My sisters blocked me. I had an option. I just blocked them back.
So good.
Then I got another call. Emmanuel, can you unblock your sisters now? They're sorry. You have to understand someone else's story. But it was really important because, for me, two things. I had loads of young men who messaged me and told me they now had a conversation with their dad that they never had before because of my story. Two, I had people DM me telling me I had a third class and I've never told anybody, but because I'm so proud of where you're at, I'm now proud of myself. So for me, if my shame and my weaknesses and my mistakes in life mean that somebody else is set free, I'm ready to let it go.
That's so good. That's so good.
Wow. Thank you for sharing. All my third-class warriors know that you're not alone. You can still make it through, and the journey is all part of the process. So, wow, thank you so much for sharing. And finally, Stephen.
I think for me, because a lot of my content beforehand, I never talked in it. It was like my outfits just kind of spoke for me. So it was a thing where, how am I going to say this? If I wear Air Forces, the same way that I can wear it. If I give it to Ruth now, the same way that she'll wear it. So it's like, and when I started like posting on social media, I didn't actually know who I was in terms of fashion. So I was like, the same way something that everyone talked about is like, everything is content. So for me, and before even posting on TikTok and Instagram, or TikTok actually, like purely fashion, I was really behind the camera. I was always a cameraman in uni. I was doing like weddings and stuff like that. And I was just the kind of person you'd call for photography. Not anymore. I'm really bad now, but we move. And so, like, I was used to kind of like God equipped me with everything I need to do to feel like kind of like fulfill my destiny. Like before posting, I just have a camera. I had a camera. When I got into uni, lockdown happened, and fashion came into the mix for me. So I said, let me just mix both my passions together and then just be me in front of the camera. And it's a bit easier because I'm in my room and no one around me, so I'm just going to show you who I am, you know what I'm saying? I could be a bit weird here and there, but it's just me. And I think because I knew who I was, like, I stuck to that, and people kind of drew people like near to me. So I feel like, yeah, and one thing that someone told me the other day is that like, it's cringe until it works. And yeah, like, a lot of what I was doing was, anyway, it's in the past. I'm here now, thank God. But like, what you might do, I might find weird, but I'm still going to support, like, you know, Ron said. And it's like, it's going to be like that until it works in a sense. But as long as you know who you are, keep on going. And like, it's keeping you, like, just being true to yourself. Because not every video is going to slap. And it's like, it took me, I started posting in November 2021. To me, I feel like he knew my story, it's weird. 6 months straight, every day posting non-stop. I think I was working at JD. I think I started to film around like 1 a.m. I posted around like 3 a.m. And every day until, 6 months, I hit like 600K. And I was like, oh, okay. And it was that consistency, them like taking the people that I was like viewing me on that journey and just showing them this is me. But this is me through fashion. I didn't say a single word. It was just like my fit talked for me. And so, yeah, that's how, like, I just, it worked out, so, yeah.
one person answer each question.
I feel like the first one has already been spoken to, but would anyone like to take? So, how could you lead a private life while still being able to promote on social media?
The first answer is to take anonymous off. Whoever asked that question, they did it anonymously, anonymity. But use your name, baby. What are you doing? Tell us who you are. No, but yeah, the Bible says to lead a private life, lead a quiet life, and it says to mind your business. I could mind my business and still tell my story, and like, there's also an aspect of like, we're a light on the top of, like, we're supposed to be a light on the top of a hill. Like, that's a part of our calling as well. You could be quiet and still be a light. And it's a dichotomy. It's difficult. Do I know how to do that? Probably not, because I'm very loud. So I'm just talking at this moment, but I love you. But it's completely possible to be private but not secret. Because a lot of bad things happen in secret, but a lot of great things are built in private. And that's, like, let us know. And find the right people. Like, we might even be those people to support you and be like, you know what, that's fantastic. I'm with it. Go for it. I'm all about it. This is great. Maybe that's not a good idea. Maybe you should pivot a little bit. And you need people like that. And maybe you might be afraid of having someone tell you that your idea needs a pivot or a push or something like that. But that's my thought.
I think that's super important, like private but not secret. But even as a whole, I think it'd be interesting to hear what the panel's thoughts are about using wisdom of what you share online. Because I think what's interesting, a lot of things that go viral are people's most vulnerable moments. And you guys have spoken about vulnerability, but vulnerability when you've worked through a situation. And I think the risk that a lot of people can face is sharing the trauma whilst it's happening. And I think that's a very dangerous line, so we don't want anyone to go home and be sharing everything that's happening in their house. It doesn't need to be like that. So does anyone have any opinions on how to share with wisdom?
This is a big one for me. I think, and it goes back to what Dr. Shola was saying actually, there's a purpose for your influence, there's a purpose for your platform. Every piece of content that you post, you need to ask yourself, what's the purpose? Because the reason why a lot of people overshare is their pure purpose is fame. I know that if I share this aspect of my life, I'm going to get attention. I just know it. And it may even be subconscious or the naive thinking of, I know this will help people, but will it harm you? Like you were saying, I'm sharing this, but this is your present circumstance. Or there are other people implicated in this authentic story you're telling. It's not that it's fake. It's actually very true. The question is this going to lead you into trouble? I think when you post something on the internet, you have to be fully ready. Even if it's scary, if God has given you this as an assignment, do it in obedience. But a lot of people aren't doing it as a part of the assignment. We're doing it as our smart idea. It's our Ishmael. Do you get what I mean? It's like, this is my smart idea. You're going to regret that. You're going to regret. It might not be now. So you really need to ask, is this actually the purposeful thing, or is this my smart idea?
Basically, don't get any Ishmael ideas. That's what she's basically saying.
Yes.
I don't know if we can tie that to the second question, and that's for you, Ron. It says, when you start encouraging people and engaging, how do you put guardrails so you don't get exploited or overwhelmed?
This is really good. This has been a journey the last year or so, and one thing that I've learned is just having clear boundaries. For example, when you take an airplane somewhere, they're like, okay, I want you to check this bag, but if it's over 50 pounds, they clearly say you must pay extra money. They're clear on their boundaries. Or you get on the plane and they're like, you got your 2 little bags, but that's it. You can't, they're like, sir, fix that, get your little 2 bags right. And those are things that I have to be able to do, and I can't be afraid of saying that. Hey, like it's after a certain time, I can't communicate with you right now, or I'll just say something the next day, and the thing is, I don't feel like you need to respond to everything, because you can't get to everything. You're not Jesus, you're not omnipotent, you're not omnipresent, but you can just be present where you are. And there's people that accept me for even that shortcoming. Like there's people that are like, yo, I texted you, and I'm like, hey man, like I was present with my friend. I can't be on my phone right now. And if anyone's mad at you for that, then that's on them. That's not on you. Just be present and set your boundaries. And you have to respect those boundaries. Because a lot of people, we set boundaries, but we don't make, like, we make boundaries, but we don't set them. Does that make sense? Yeah. There's a difference between making a boundary and being like, this is what I want to do. And then, like, you're like, la-di-da. And you just never set it for yourself. You actually have to stick to those things. Because if you don't, you're going to overexert yourself. And you'll realize that you're at your limit and you've reached capacity, and then you're not okay.
Wow. That's but we don't have that much time, so I want to try and add tack one more in. And I don't know, any one of you could probably answer this. So it says, how do you separate ministry and business on the same, and forgive me because I can't see.
I think that's enough,
on the same place, same platform?
Yeah.
How do you separate ministry and business on the same platform? I'm guessing what they're trying to say is, do you separate it, or if you're going to become an influencer, do you need two separate platforms, or can you combine them? I'm paraphrasing. Yeah. Right?
Yeah. Emmanuel, would you like to take that first?
Okay. I think on my platform, it's not really a problem because for me, I'm a brand, so I do as I can. I'll give you an example to the last question. Is that I remember there was a time where there was loads of couples content, and my wife was like, we should post. I was like, we have not been to therapy to be posting. I will not be posting you on my page until we are right in real life, because social media is not real. So I see all the time, I meet people in real life, and obviously as their financial advisor, some people I meet, they're on the internet. When it comes to their finance, we must have two separate meetings. Do you understand? So as much as they act like they're together, they're separate. So for me is, like you said, you can't just do stuff for content. It needs to actually mean something. I think for me, where the problem comes with ministry is when church now call you and they want you to come and speak, and you tell them this is your price.
Hey!
I hear that.
Not the pause.
It's a problem. And so it's them understanding, right, that sometimes we are too friendly, especially as black people, but especially as Christians as well. So, for example, I always say, they always call me the Black Martin Lewis. And I always tell them, if you were booking Martin Lewis, you have already gone to raise funds before you even send the welcome email to invite him to come and speak. But when it's me, it's like, oh, my brother, bruv, British Gas are sending me real bills in real life. Your speaking in tongues is not reducing my outgoings.
Oh my gosh.
And so it's us accepting that, okay, and now if I want to, that's different. So for me, I allocate throughout the year certain amount of charity that I'm going to do. I have picked that. I have said that I'm going to do X number. You can't tell me this must be charity. How dare you? Because if not, all the work I did to be on television, would you even know me today? But now you see me on television and you feel like, oh, this is someone that people want to speak to. Now I should come and do for free. And so for me, that's where the faith comes in. And so I had to set boundaries because I had to go to therapy because I have a superhero complex. I want to save everybody. Imagine finance. For me, sometimes I feel like, imagine having the cure to cancer and then just saying people, oh, sorry, unless you pay me this much, you can't get access to it. It sounds so wrong. So it's like, I know that if I speak to you, I'm going to make your finances better. I know that house you want to buy, if we work together, I can get you there. But I also know if I spend all my time helping you for free, how will I feed my kids?
Word.
But
Word.
do you understand? And so the time, and this is the problem that we forget, is the time. The time I'm here right now, my children are living and breathing. I'm not with them. And I'm telling you, kids are very rude. They will... They will really come and, Daddy, you wasn't there. Daddy, you're always going to talk. Daddy, you're always on the internet. I'm here. I'm paying your real bills in real life. But that's not what they want. They want your time. So if I'm going to sacrifice my time for my children that I can never get back, they're only this age once, I can never get it back, I'm going to move away from that and be somewhere, I must be compensated for that time because I'm losing. Because if you don't, and this is another thing, if you don't book me, I'm good. I don't know if that makes sense. If you don't book me, my bills they were still getting paid. I was still living. I am choosing to come. Do you understand? As opposed to I have to come. I'm choosing to come. And because I'm making that sacrifice, respect the fact that my ministry and my faith to God doesn't mean I must do it for free. Because you are not, like we're in here right now, the lights are on. You have not told Eon, please. The way that Jesus loves me, I don't need to pay that electricity bill.
Okay.
Nah.
So,
Honestly, you touched on some really important points, and I think people often forget that what you're doing is not a joke, and there's work that goes behind it, and there's value in what you do, so thank you. And lastly, we're going to come to Ariel to close us out with how you separate business from social, ministry from business. Like, how do you find the balance between that?
On the same platform, right?
Yeah, on the same platform.
You know, the thing is, I notice like with everything, because people always ask me, because I do a lot of different things on the same page, but sometimes people can't notice it. And I think it's like there's this beauty in being able to incorporate everything together. So for example, if I am in my humor, right? There is ministry in my humor. But sometimes, like, the first person who sees my video, for example, it's not just Christians that follow me. I got a lot of comments from people like, I'm not a Christian, but I could relate to this. Or I'm not a believer, but, like, I'm Muslim, or I'm this, I'm that, and I love your page. It's because they're seeing the humor in it and the relatability in it. Now, my job, I believe, as a believer, is to always represent Christ, in no matter what I do. So even in my humor, my ministry has to come through it. So I make a joke, but that joke is supposed to lead to Christ. It's supposed to lead to the truth. So even when it comes to now business and making money, because like he said, at the end of the day, you have bills to pay. I got rent to pay and all that stuff. But because I've learned to take on this attitude of not worrying, like literally what Jesus said. He said, do not worry about what you're going to eat, what you're going to wear, all that stuff. He's going to take care of it. So I realized, okay, all I have to do right now is put my focus on Christ. And the rest is going to come. So even when I come with business, like you said, I'm not freaking out like, oh, if this person doesn't book me, what am I going to do? No. I make sure that I keep Christ at the center of it. So when I want to sell something, for example, I did an ebook once. My main priority wasn't the money. I knew money would come, but my main priority was more to help people on the subject of their skin, because I used to have like terrible acne, terrible eczema, like crazy all over my body. And I created that, and I said, Lord, I'm gonna put this out there. I didn't have anything to do with like, it didn't have Bible verses in it or whatever, but I said, I'm gonna put it out here, and I pray that it blesses people and that it helps people. And I know, and obviously I know that's a business move as well. It's going to bring money. I put a price on it. But because I can sync it together, and I know that it's going to impact people and bring them to Christ, it's all going to work together for my good. So my focus, again, I don't put it on, I don't believe you have to completely separate it. I believe it's like all integrated into one. So no matter what you do, yes, the business is going to come. For example, I sell merch. I sell merchandise, T-shirts. What does my merch do? It's going to lead people to Christ some way, somehow. I have to be the light in whatever I do. So that's the way I kind of balance it out.
And we have to come to a close right there. I know, it was juicy, wasn't it? It was so juicy. However, you know, there's still going to be some breakout sessions. So all of these amazing things where you can ask questions, and I know people still have gems to share. So make sure you go to the relevant breakout sessions at the appointed time. So yes.
All right, thank you all for joining us.